What's going on, people? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you that don't know, my name's Demeji. I'm an entrepreneur from Manchester, England. And yeah, I think it dawned on me, I've never actually spoken about fully what's happened with Vegan Shack and the liquidation. Spoke about it on my social media and it resonated with a lot of founders. The video's now got over 1 million views. I still get DMs now from people being like, this side of business isn't spoken about. People don't post about this stuff. It's so needed in the industry. So I thought, let me make this, a long form version and really break down the rise and fall of my first successful business, Vegan Shack. Let me take you right back to the start. Vegan Shack was started because myself and my fiance Saffron were new vegans. We were, trying to go plant based, but we missed meat. We missed eating meat so much. So especially when we was hungover, we wanted something greasy, loaded fries, a burger, a wrap. And this was around the time that mock meats were starting to make the rounds. They were available in Tesco, Morrison, Sainsbury's, etc. So we would go to Tesco, buy these, fake vegan meats, and make different meals for ourselves. And after a while, we obviously it dawned on us how delicious this is and how we have to make it ourselves because this isn't available yet. At the time, this is back in 2019. At the time, all you could get in restaurants was like bean burgers, tofu, there was corn, nothing nice, nothing meaty, nothing with texture. So again, it was a light bulb moment. Someone else wants this too. So that was that. I went to Tesco with my £30, spent it all on a shop, getting some mock meats, getting some fries, getting some containers, etc. Went back home, made some meals, took some photos, started posting on my Instagram using all the hashtags, joined all the vegan northern Facebook groups, Manchester Vegans, Vegans and Vegetarians Manchester, etc. And started posting like crazy. And almost instantly, we knew that this is gonna catch fire. Yeah, the feedback we was getting wasn't normal, so we knew we was onto something. So yeah, I remember Gilson was our first customer. He ordered the food, I delivered it in my little car, and yeah, he kept on ordering. So did more and more people, and that's it. As you can imagine, within a few months, we outgrew the flat completely. Our tenancy was coming to an end anyway, so the decision was easy. Do we move into a new place where we want to carry on doing it from home, but don't really want to be cooking in your own home anymore? Or do we make the jump and get our first brick and mortar takeaway? And that's exactly what we did. Vegan Shack was a brick and mortar business at 184 Rochdale Road in Manchester. We signed the lease in January 2020, moved in instantly. Things were tough. What didn't dawn on me is moving from a flat to a business, regardless if it's 10, 15 minutes away, is completely different than what your customers were used to. So we lost a lot of our customers because we were a bit too far, or the procedure was a bit different. We had to market to a whole new customer base and also explain where we are and stuff like that. So yeah, we began doing that, kept on posting, kept on cooking, kept on delivering all ourselves. And then COVID was announced, lockdown was announced, and I was hearing murmurs about commercial landlords not caring, still wanting their rent, and business owners having to figure out what to do. I just signed a 5 year lease, so we were. I was distraught. I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Luckily for us, we was about to embark on the craziest experience that we've ever had. Almost overnight, after lockdown was announced, things started getting so crazy for Vegan Shack. All people were doing was at home ordering food. And because we had already built our business to be a delivery or click and collect function from our apartment, we had no choice, right? That's what people was already used to from Vegan Shack, and that's what we carried on doing. The brick and mortar place that we got was a takeaway. We could only fit, 2, 3 people in the customer waiting area anyway. There was no dining, it was fully takeaway or delivery. And there were the only hospitality businesses that was allowed to operate. And luckily for us, Vegan Shack ended up being the only vegan takeaway that was doing delivery and collection during COVID that was open consistently throughout. We didn't close once because we didn't have to. It was myself and Saffron working every single day, all day, and we were making so much money. We actually couldn't believe it. Even after all bills, all expenses, etc., was making so much money. Things started getting crazy for us. Every day we would walk in, our receipts would be on the floor from pre-orders, and we'd have to figure out what to do, take 2 orders at a time, take 3 orders at a time. And we got really good at, mapping out delivery routes and timing it for one of us to come back and have the other orders ready. And it was such a whirlwind experience, but it was easily some of the best memories I have working with my partner and running Vegan Shack. And then so we got delivery drivers. We ended up getting 2 delivery drivers. We got staff. We had a full team of staff. We were, just trying to keep up with the demand as you do. The orders were there. They didn't stop. In fact, they got more month and month. Our growth was insane. We couldn't handle it ourselves. We obviously had to get a team in place, and that's what we did. We had staff. We had delivery drivers. We, had Uber Eats. We had Deliveroo, and everything was working fine, but still facing a lot of the same issues that we had before, that we were just too busy. Way too busy for the size of the kitchen and for the amount of staff that we could fit in the kitchen. So again, just like any, other business owner would at the time, it makes sense. All the indications are there that we need another location. We've been here for over a year and we're still outgrowing it. It was a good first step. But now the demand is here and we need to go bigger. So that's when we got our new location, Vegan Shack number 2, in Piccadilly Gardens, Portland Street in Manchester City Centre. We were right in the heart of Manchester, next to Pret, next to Barbaritos, really all the big boys. And we were the only independent restaurant in Manchester City Centre. There was no one else doing what we were doing in Piccadilly Gardens. Same old story. Things were going really well. We opened up on the back end of summer, rushed to get everything ready during our free rent period, and again, things were going really well. Orders were coming in. It was a bit of a different model because now we're in city centre, so for the first time ever, customers could eat inside Vegan Shack. Took some adjusting too, but again, we had the staff now, we had the space, so it worked really well. We ended up getting a really good team in place. The staff were all mega close. They loved Vegan Shack. It just worked. And everything was going fine. And then shortly after that, the opportunity came up for us to open up a unit in London. We was in conversations with Box Park, and we were thinking about exploring, the option to open up a small Vegan Shack at a Box Park site. We really wanted Box Park in Shoreditch, East London, vegans, even if not vegans, just flexitarians, people that are a bit more open-minded, and it's right in the heart of central London, and we think it can work. Unfortunately, last minute, we got the news that they've only got a space open at Box Park in Croydon. We done our research. There was quite a few, vegan restaurants there that do well. They've been open for a long time, many years. So we thought, why not? Vegan Shack is not only newer and more exciting, it's more delicious than some of these places. Like we have the data that we know that our returning customer rate is extremely high. It was floating around 80-something% year after year. It was really strong. As soon as a customer has Vegan Shack, more than likely they're going to come back. So we was like, let's do it. So we did it. At this point, we were all self-funded. The unit to open up London, that cash actually came from myself. We had just sold our family home, and my share of the house was £10,000. I put every single penny into the London location. I did everything myself. The floors, the walls, the electrics. I did everything myself. It was absolutely insane. And then lastly, I got an electrician to obviously just come in, do a test, sign everything off, because, you know, it's always cheaper to fix than to do the whole thing. So I thought, let me do it that way. But yeah, opened up in London. It was time to open up, and same thing. It was flying. It was such a good addition to not only Boxport Croydon, but just Croydon. We ended up getting so many new customers. Turns out a lot of young professionals actually live in Croydon's East Croydon station, around that area, just because it's so easy to get into central London. Bunch of new flats going up, serviced apartments, etc. And yeah, again, it just worked. People was really falling in love with Vegan Shack. And then I started exploring, seeking investment to, really take this bigger than ever. We're at 3 locations now, and all the signs are telling me that, the market demand is there. More and more people are going plant based. You got Burger Co growing, you've got Neat Burger that are growing, you've got Clean Kitchen that are growing. All these places raising investment, going big. And I thought, well, we can't forget the OGs, right? I'm not scared of raising investment. Let's go for it. Let's grow the business. So we did. We started speaking to Crowdcube, the crowdfunding platform, and again, things were going well. We secured our lead investment. We got Krypton Conan. We got an old friend of mine, Max. We got Clint, the owner of Cortez. He came on board as an investor, and we had all of our lead investment in place. Jumped on Crowdcube. Everything went as perfect as it can. We went into overfunding. We ended up all in all raising just shy of £200,000. And again, things were flying. Our time in London had come to an end. We'd been there a year. So it was time for the store to, stand up on its own 2 feet. We had a manager in place. We had a full team of staff, regular customers. Everything's going fine. Let's go back to Manchester so we can open up a new site. And that was the plan. Everything was ready for this new site. The equipment had been delivered, and everything was ready. This is when things started to go wrong, and I started to realize that I have bitten off way more than I can chew. That money can fix, but money can't undo. So that's when things started going wrong at the London site. Returning customers dropping off, negative reviews, staff, calling in sick, showing up late. Turns out the manager was being very inappropriate, mocking delivery riders' accents and talking shit about respecting British values and a bunch of nonsense, and spouting all of this to a team of black and brown, young teens. Like, it was just hell. Fired the manager instantly. That same evening that I found out, within the hour, just had to make sure that they locked up and went home. Fired them instantly. And then that's it. Like, what do you actually do with a store without a manager? So yeah, things just start going wrong instantly. Our focus is in Manchester, open up a new site, eyeing up a new Vegan Shack kiosk at Stretford Food Hall, but mentally we're in London, who's flying without a manager, not making as much money anymore, and we're exploring, getting out of that lease and maybe closing up shop because it's just not worth the money at the moment. And we're realizing, let's just focus on Manchester and leave London till we're really ready. But that's not how it works, guys. You sign a lease, you've signed a lease. It was a 3-year lease. We were a year and a bit into it. So yeah, things were tough. And again, just to sum up this period of time, this is when we realized we have bitten off way more than we can chew. Why did we grow so quick? It made sense at the time. I'm not stupid. I'm not, a terrible business owner. It made sense at the time, but that's not the only reason you should be making decisions in business. That's what I've come to realize now. It doesn't matter if all the indications are there to grow. Is that part of the plan? Do you have a plan? Is that part of the plan? You're not supposed to wait for indications for you to go, okay, cool, now let's do it. Do you even want a new location? What if something goes wrong? Are you happy with just one site that's extremely busy, always selling out? Fair enough, you've got some issues around logistics, but they're good issues to have. It's because you're so busy. And it's taken me a long time to, I guess, realize that, yeah, I should have just stayed in Manchester, should have stayed at that first location and just enjoyed that period for way longer, milked it for everything it could ever be before even getting a second site in Manchester. And the second site that I got in Manchester should have been the same as the first site in Manchester. Just a takeaway. Same operations, just copy and paste. But yeah, unfortunately, we decided to scale back down. We had, raised all of this investment, spent it on, we spent it on tightening operations, getting the right systems in place, trying to scale back and getting out of leases, paying legal fees, paying all of these things. And it is extremely expensive to break one lease, never mind break two from two big landlords. They're not gonna just roll over and say, well, do you know what? Fair enough, you've paid us a decent amount of rent over the years, you've been a good tenant. Let's just call it quits. We'll let you leave. Just chuck us a couple of grand. Doesn't work like that. Not only do you have to pay for your legal fees, your own legal fees, you have to pay for the landlord's legal fees. And then not only do you have to pay for both of your legal fees, you have to pay for the free rent period of the incoming tenant, which was 6 months for one site, 3 months for the other. Basically, in order to surrender a lease, it needs to be financially viable. It needs to make sense on paper for the landlord. It's not good enough that they're not out of pocket by doing this. They're looking to actually make something, because they could have made something with you as a tenant, whether you paid or whether they still charged you and took you to court for the fees. They would have made more having you as a tenant. So they're looking for something. So at the end of all this period, we're left with the debts and bills and stress of 4 locations, but with the revenue of 1. So yeah, there's some things I would have changed in hindsight, of course. When I realised I scaled down, I should have handled it differently. I did have a plan in place, but it would have required me to fire everyone apart from 2 employees and grow that way. And that was the plan. I just didn't want to be that sort of boss. But I should have been, because obviously I'm here now today. So a few different things that I would do differently. But yeah, the moral of this, the reason I'm doing this video is for any aspiring founders out there, any operators right now, any founders right now. All of this is completely avoidable. All of this could have been avoided if you stick to the plan. Make a plan, stick to the plan. Of course you can deviate. Of course you need to, go where the market goes and be ready to, shake and move and do whatever you need to do to make sure the business can go through a certain period. But in order to do that, you need to make sure that the business is nimble enough. You need to make sure that the business is flexible enough for you to be able to make those decisions. It makes no sense for you to be in 5 and 10 year lease agreements. If something happens a couple of years in, you can't be, that's not flexibility. You can't be flexible. And if you found the perfect site but the landlord wants 6, 7, 8 year lease, that's not part of the plan. It can't be that site. If you can't negotiate a break clause halfway through, that's not the site. Make a plan, stick to the plan, and be able to be flexible enough so that you can weather any storms that inevitably you're going to get, right? It's business. Everyone goes through these periods. Some are able to survive because they're able to adapt quickly. The business is, like I said, flexible enough to be able to adapt. And we wasn't. We were spread too thin across 2 cities, and we were in leases that we shouldn't have been. It made sense at the time, but we shouldn't have been in them because that's not what we wanted to we didn't want to be in those big leases. But yeah, to my founders, operators, aspiring founders and operators, I'm going to give you 3 pieces of advice. When you're starting up, you need to make a plan. You need to be able to see what your business looks like year 1, year 2, year 3. If you want to, you can break it down. You can do 2, 5, and 10-year plan, for instance. What you see the business like. How many locations? If it's 1, if it's 10, why? What those locations look like, and just have a plan. It doesn't need to be set in stone, but just have that vision, long-term vision for your business so you see what it looks like. And the reason why it helps for you to have that is because when it comes to making business decisions, you always have some sort of line to follow, some sort of plan to follow, or that's not really what I saw for my business. It's exciting, but you know what? I'm actually gonna chill and do this. Make a plan from day one, because you're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Number 2, scaling up. When you're scaling your business, let's say you do want to go from 1 to 2 locations to 3 locations to 4, etc., whatever it is. Scaling, growing a business exposes the problems and issues that you ignored. It exposes the things that you didn't actually set up. I heard a saying that, revenue hides or revenue masks like mistakes or things like that. Like, because your business is doing so well, just like Vegan Shack was in the early days, because Vegan Shack was doing so well, you just think you're a good businessman. You think you're a good operator, or your invoices are getting paid on time, payroll's getting made, you want to do this marketing thing, you can pay it. When everything's going well, you don't realize the things that you haven't spent time putting in place just in case you need them, right? Because you're so busy with running the business, you haven't got time to plan for what ifs and getting certain things in place that you might not need necessarily yet, and you might not use every day, but you're going to as you keep on getting busier. You don't think that. As a business owner, you just you put fires out every day and you implement things when you need them. But you should always just be looking ahead, and things that you're gonna need, and systems that you're gonna need, different softwares, platforms, and just different ways of doing things. You need to start implementing them now so that when it gets time to, copy and paste the first location, you've already got that in place. All the staff are used to using and doing things a certain way, so that when new hires are coming in, they're not all learning together, they can just learn from the staff. So yeah, scaling up will expose the things that you haven't spent time perfecting or working on, so implement them as early as you can, especially when you start to spot that, the growth is happening. And then lastly, scaling down. This is the most important one, and in hindsight, the one that could have probably saved Vegan Shack in my opinion. When it's time to scale down, no one is your friend. No one will be your friend. I'm telling you this from experience now that I'm on the back end of a liquidation. No one is your friend. Your suppliers that you speak to every day, you won't hear from them. Your employees that you've bent over backwards for anything they needed: extra holidays, early pay, extra hours, pay rise, little cash in hand every now and again. Whatever none of them will speak to you. None of them will speak to you. Liquidations can be very messy. People are waiting to get paid. People are waiting to get their holiday pay and redundancy pay, etc. There is never enough information for people. It's never fast enough for people. Avoid all of this. When you realize that you need to scale back down, otherwise you can lose the business, fire everyone. Fire everyone. Cut off certain supplies if you need to be working with smaller ones again. Do everything that you need to do in order to stop the bleeding. That's it. Forget people's feelings and, oh, but what about this relationship, that relationship? You're not going to have it in a few months anyway if you don't make these drastic choices. If you know you need to scale back down as soon as you realize, and then bounce back up. Those relationships will come back. You'll make new ones, you'll make better ones. But as soon as you realize you need to scale down, do it. Do it for you. Do it for the business. That's it. It's not personal. It's not a personal decision. Of course, no one wants to be in that position. Do it immediately. So yeah, I'm very blessed. A lot of people, this is their nightmare. So, oh, what if I start a business and I have to close it and I lose everything? And it was probably me at the start of, I guess, my entrepreneurial journey, but it's not the end of the world is what I'm trying to say. It's very unfortunate. It's not the end of the world. I'm extremely proud of what we built with Vegan Shack, what we've done for Manchester, plant-based, food scene. And I'm also proud that it was this little idea that we started in a flat and it got to as big as it got. It served tens of thousands of people, made, millions of pounds. And that's it. We move, and that is it. I'm on to the next business already, and the knowledge that you learn from going through all this. Not to say you have to go through a liquidation to learn all of this, but you learn so much. This is never going to happen to me ever again. I know now. I've got the knowledge, and the way I'm growing my new business, Dilogy, which is a B2B SaaS company, hospitality tech. It's an all-in-one platform for hospitality. It does your rota, all your workforce, ops, but also your food safety management. Again, learned all that from Vegan Shack days. We're using whiteboards and notepads and WhatsApp and everything's fragmented across different apps and different. I said, let me build an all-in-one that can really grow with the business. You can jump on a starter plan all the way to our enterprise plan when you get to 4, 5, 6, 7 locations and everything's in there. Your workforce, your jobs and everything's just in one app and you can really grow with it. And that's what I mean by getting the right systems in place. Don't wait until you feel like you deserve it. Get them in place. Grow with it. And that's it. Growing this new business now, Dilogy, I'm never going to go through the same mistakes as I did before. Even now I hear about all these tech layoffs and how it breaks people's heart. It's sad. Of course, layoffs are sad. But now I fully understand. If you have to do that for the business, then you have to do that. But yeah, that's my advice for you guys. I went from a £1.4 million valuation to 0 3 years later after raising that round. And listen to me when I tell you that fast growth isn't anything to be chasing. Slow and steady, and that's it, man. We'll get there. Slow and steady growth. That's it. If the growth is already there, just chill. Learn the business. Get to know it inside out. Everything else is going to come. There's no rush.